Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel Cakes by MK. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to pipe beautiful rosettes onto a cake using buttercream. If you're new to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you're updated whenever I upload a new video. Apart from that, stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Now, if you've never piped a rosette before, then the best thing to do is to practice first before you go ahead and start piping the rosette straight onto your cake. So what I'm going to be doing first is I'm going to be showing you guys how to pipe rosettes on a piece of baking paper or parchment paper. Now, the first thing that you want to keep in mind is making sure that the buttercream that you're using doesn't have any air bubbles in it, or as little air bubbles as possible. So what I've got here is I've got some vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream, which I'm going to be using to pipe my rosettes. And the trick that I like to use to get those air bubbles out of there is to just mix it with my hands for a few minutes. So now that my buttercream is nice and smooth, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it into a piping bag with a 1M tip on it. So a 1M is like an open star tip, and that's what's going to help us achieve our beautiful rosettes. Now, another thing to keep in mind with your buttercream before you pop it into your piping bag is you want to make sure that your buttercream is slightly firm, so it can't be too soft, otherwise when it comes to piping our rosettes, they're not going to hold its shape. So if you find that your buttercream is a little bit soft, then just pop it into the fridge for, maybe 10 minutes or so, give it a mix again, and then pop it into your piping bag. Now, once you've got your buttercream into your piping bag with your nozzle on it, the next step is to start practicing. So what I've got here is my parchment paper, and I'm going to show you guys how to pipe a rosette. Now, the general shape that you want to follow is a small E. So you want to start off in the middle, release some pressure, and then start going around like an E, and then release the pressure. Oh, my baking paper's flowing away. Release the pressure and then let it go. Just going to pop something on there to hold it down. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys one more time. So apply some pressure, start going in an E shape, bring it around and then release the pressure. And then you end up with some beautiful rosettes like that. And that is basically how you pipe a simple rosette. So it is pretty easy, you just have to have the right nozzle for it. You can even use other nozzles as well, you'll just get a slightly different shape when creating the rosette pattern. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am really bad at piping. I am not good at all at piping different designs and flowers and things like that. But because a rosette is so easy to do, I am not too bad at it. So, if you're a bit hesitant to try it out, don't worry, it's not that difficult. With a little bit of practice, you will be a pro in no time. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go grab my cake and we're going to start piping some rosettes straight onto the cake. So what I've got here is I've got a 3-tier cake and I've got 10, 8 and 6-inch tiers. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be piping rosettes on the bottom and the top tier. So I've just done a thick crumb coat on the top and bottom tier. You don't need to do a full coat of buttercream on it. Just make sure that when you do your crumb coat, it is quite thick, because if any, holes kind of show through, you don't want the cake to come through, you want this white buttercream to come through, or whatever color that your rosettes are going to be. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start piping rosettes on the bottom of this bottom tier, and I'm going to go all around, and then I'm going to start doing my next row of rosettes on top. Now before you start, you just want to kind of gauge how many rosettes you're going to be able to get on the tier. So my tier isn't very high, so I'm going to aim for 2 rosettes. So I'm going to make sure that my first rosette that I pipe, that first row, reaches about halfway through the middle of this bottom tier. I'm going to start in the middle, start going around like an E, and then release. And then when you get to the end of your row, you just want to gauge how many rosettes you can actually fit in. So for me, I think if I do 2 small ones, I should be okay. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my bottom layer of rosettes done, and now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start my next layer. Now, what you want to do with your next layer is you want to make sure that you're putting your rosette in between 2 of the bottom rosettes. So my next rosette will go right here in between these 2 bottom rosettes. Okay, so I've got my bottom layer of rosette piping done too, and now I'm going to finish the top by piping 1 rosette kind of at a slight angle on the top of this bottom tier. And again, I'm going to pipe the rosette in the middle of the 2 rosettes underneath it. Okay, so my bottom tier of rosettes are done, and now I'm going to do the exact same thing with the top tier. Okay, so I finished adding the rosettes to the top tier and bottom tier of the cake. Now, usually I would also finish the top, but 1, I have run out of buttercream, but 2, I'm not too fussed about the top because I am going to be putting flowers and macarons on the top, so you won't be able to see it anyway. Now, to finish off this cake, I've got some gorgeous fresh white flowers here, and then I've also got some hand-painted macarons, which I've painted gold. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting the flowers into my cake. I'm going to put some on the top, some on the sides, and then, yeah, just see how I go. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to wrap my stems with some floral tape, and then I'm going to start poking them into my cake. Now I'm just going through and adding a bit of greenery around the flowers. Okay, so I've got all my flowers in the cake now, and now the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place my gold macarons around the cake. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that now, and my rosette cake is all done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to pipe beautiful rosettes onto a cake. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks again for watching Cakes by MK.